Hi there, neighbor. I hope your winter vegetable garden is going really well because mine's actually doing, like, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about my mid-late vegetable garden. But we're starting to round the corner on winter and we need to start heading into spring vegetable garden and spring vegetable garden planning. It just feels like we just talked about this with these kind of crops, but we need to start talking spring. And I have some holes I need to fill in back here, some changes we need to do over here, and then we need to talk about front yard vegetable garden and resetting that whole like mess that it is. So if you're looking to, one, hang out, you know you're always welcome. Two, if you're looking for inspiration to help you go ahead and plan or fill in holes or reset, or you just need some motivation to get going, you know, that's what we're gonna be doing today. So come hang out. Let's start getting, get some paper, get some pens, get your cup of tea, get a drink of choice, and let's start planning for spring vegetable gardens. I feel like you guys got a nice view of the backyard vegetable garden. I feel like it's going really well. Okay, big box store starts. And as you're getting settled in, if you need something to help you plan your garden, go get your free Wild Floridian seasonal gardening calendar. It's totally free, it's digital. You can get it immediately. Just go to www.wildfloridian.net/guide. It gives you tips on things to plant each season, plus a space to plan. And if you need like a little area to do some doodles and drawing, you know, it's right there. And the cool thing, since it's digital, you can print pages as many times as you need them. So go get that right now, totally free. wildfloridian.net/guide. Now, when it comes to my backyard vegetable garden, I feel like we did a really good job for winter. But one of the things we talked about as I planted it, I think just over a month ago, I don't remember. It all is blending together. That's Miss Shiloh. There she is. She'll be bouncing around here a lot. One of the things is that back bed right there, it has spinach in it and it's got a couple tomatoes, but I told you guys, like, I didn't have enough plants to get going. I did some seeds starting with soil blocks, which are happening, but they're really slow. But then a friend of the Wild Floridian channel gifted me a whole bunch of plants. So while I was planning on doing some more tomatoes and some onions back there, they gave me a whole bunch. So now I've got tomatoes, I got onions, I got some potato starts, I got eggplant, I got cabbage. I think that's all that she gave me. It was still a lot. So thank you to Freda for all of these plants back here, which Miss Shiloh really enjoys snipping. But I need to figure out where are those going. So what's gonna go in the back? What's going in the front? What's in the front? And then I need to figure out what else I need to go and get, because I did get some gift cards to some garden centers from some friends and family. So I'm really excited because, you know, what gardener doesn't love doing like a plant shopping spree? I'm telling you. But I need to figure out what I'm gonna go get. Plus, we're in this time period where we're transitioning out of our cold crops and into our warm crops. So I wanna make sure that I maximize and use my space, you know, the best I can. Now, for what I'm gonna be doing and drawing my stuff out, I'm of course gonna be using the 2023 Wild Floridian Planner. This is where there are even more tips than the free guide, even more plant ideas and even more space, and it's literally a planner, so you can plan everything out. So I'm gonna be using that to put in my winter space, even though we're kind of planning for spring. I have other projects that I'm gonna use my garden grids for spring, specifically for wildflowers. And so I want to just focus this part on my vegetable space, and then I'm going to, in a different video, we'll plan out wildflowers because I'm not sure what I'm going to do there yet. Now, a couple things that are going to change back here. I know, I just put it in, it's like already we're changing. One is looking at the space plus how much soil we have left, we're going to add a fourth bed here. Because I feel like every vegetable gardener is like this, is that we put stuff in and then we're like, it's not enough, I need more. And really the reason is because as I started kind of in my head think through stuff, I was like, where am I going to put tons of peppers? Because I just inherited a bunch of eggplants and I really want to have, I mean, we had really, I feel like, solid production last year when it came to peppers, but I feel like I just want to really get it up there. Because I love peppers, I love pickled peppers, I love fresh peppers, I love spicy peppers, I love like mild sweet peppers, I love peppers. So I want a lot of them, like a lot. So I'm gonna add a whole nother bed because what's in this bed won't be really done in time for me to get peppers going. So I need to kind of dedicate this bed to my brassicas, which is like kale, cauliflower, and broccoli. And then I want to make this new bed that I'm going to add in, I want to put that as basically just like a dedicated pepper bed, especially because some of these peppers are probably going to go year over year. And I'm hoping this spot will work a lot better than like kind of what's happening in the front yard. We've talked a lot about the front yard. So let me get going on starting to draw out like my space. And yes, I sometimes spell things incorrectly. I am very aware of that, and I'm gonna own that. I'm gonna own it. So if you see me spell something wrong, yeah, I do that. So I have 3 beds up front. Oh wait, I'm not doing front. Ah, dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it. We're already off to a bad start. I'm writing backyard. We're gonna switch gears. We're gonna make this front yard. Front yard. Now the spacing is not gonna be exact. This is just more for planning purposes. You can, of course, when you're planning your garden, really like use these little boxes to either be like a foot or 3 feet or 2 feet or whatever measurement you want to use it for. I'm just doing like kind of a rough estimate so that I can kind of just get an idea of what's going in each bed. And I'm not gonna necessarily show like how many for some of these beds, just because some of them are already in production and it's kind of like, I don't know, there's some carrots in there and beets and whatever, and I'm just gonna go with it. So you can be as precise or imprecise as you want. That's up to you. I tend to be very loosey-goosey with this. I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty loosey-goosey. So you do what you like. It's all good. They're all the answers are right. It's just whatever works for you, you know? In the middle here. This is looking way longer than when I used to draw it last year. I must be doing proportions differently. So what I'm gonna be putting in some of these beds are gonna be more kind of annual, I'm gonna call it. Annual? That's not the right word. Perennial. Perennial beds, or beds that I'm just gonna continue to maintain in certain things throughout the year, because I've just found that works. So one of the things we kind of saw in my harvest video is this is gonna stay as a sweet potato bed. We didn't get any real, well, we got some, but not enough. So this is gonna stay as a sweet potato bed. We've already got vines that are started in there. We just need it to go through some hot, sunny seasons so that this can become productive. In here, we've got a whole bunch of cold weather crops. So this is kind of my cabbage. What else was in here? Carrots and beets bed. And they've been happy together. Now this one was strawberries and lettuce, but with the lighting problems, and we just have too many crops not do well here. So I'm thinking this is either gonna be because Freda gave me so many cabbages and what's the other thing she gave me? Eggplants. I was debating whether this is gonna be another cabbage bed or is this an eggplant bed. Part of me wants to do eggplant, but I don't know. So I've got to figure that out. This one, what I'm finding is it looks like the roselles are perennials. I'm pretty sure I knew that, but I was double checking because some died back and some didn't. Is that I'm gonna make this area kind of more permanently a sunflower / roselle area. So sunflower / roselle, because then we got the papayas like right here. My memory is coming back to me now. What I was thinking is in the front bed, this is that I probably will do eggplants because they get a lot bigger, and with the amount that Freda gave me, I think it's gonna end up filling most of this. I already have a couple peppers like on the north and the south side, but we'll just do a bunch of eggplants in the middle, and then we'll do kind of some of our usual beans and tomatoes on the trellises, and then I'll put the cabbages next to the other cabbage bed, and I'll probably throw in a couple more carrots. Cabbage. She gave me a bunch of different cool varieties, and right here I've got jalapeno. And down here I've got my cubanelles that went year over year, and so in the middle we'll do eggplant. And I think in my head the other night, you know when you can't sleep, I kind of did like some rough math, and I was like, I think with the numbers she gave me that would fill this almost entire space. And then we're gonna do what we've normally done, which is tomatoes and the Cherokee black beans on the trellis. I don't know what varieties. There's at least gonna be Everglades tomatoes, which I'll make a little note. One, I think I'm gonna try to do the 4th of July's and the early harvest, which these ones I'm gonna do in soil blocks to get those going. I think those are the main ones. I might do some grape again and Roma. There are already some tomatoes that we planted in fall still up there. I cannot tell, they're a huge mess. So I honestly cannot tell what's where. Like, I can't tell if which ones survived and which ones are just all mixing together because we had so much light problems. They all kind of grew in a certain direction. I know there's tomatoes on some of the plants. I've seen them in there. They're not ready yet, but yeah, I'm not really sure. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with that hot mess. That thing's a total mess. But what I will do is, what I found worked really well last year is doing tomatoes and then my Cherokee black beans, because the Cherokee black beans, unlike the Puerto Rican black beans, stay very, like their profile of the plant stays very compact. It's nice to have with the tomatoes because they'll help hold it. Versus that Puerto Rican black bean, like it really takes over. It is a very prolific grower. It is totally worth it. Don't take that like I'm saying don't grow it. I'm just saying it is such a big grower. I think it's going to overwhelm the tomatoes during the tomato season. It's great for going through the summer. So I won't do any Puerto Rican black bean. I gotta like pull Puerto Rican black beans because I can see them popping up around. But we will wait till late in the spring to plant Puerto Rican black beans. But in between now and then, we can get some of the Cherokee ones in there, and they'll put out a harvest. It won't be as big as what we're getting from the Puerto Ricans, but you know what? So what? So what, right? Like, maximize. And also that will just create some diversification so that, you know, when my long-tailed skippers and my hawk moths want to come in and put their babies on a host plant, it's a little bit harder for them to find. So those are the bugs that grow on your tomatoes and beans. Ain't saying, just saying. Okay, so that's kind of be the general plan. Now there's a lot of other crops that you could be growing. Just with some of the successes I've had, or the lack of successes I've had, these I just feel like are going to create a lot more good things for us then, so I can really just push the harvest. What I do want to try to do this year is focus in on the crops that have done well for me and just try new varieties with the varieties that have worked good, great, or like so always open to those who are very experienced with the recommendations. That's what one of the things with like Freda, she gave me a lot of different varieties that I've never ever tried before. So I'm really excited to see how they do in my yard, because sometimes what we find is like what does well in my yard might not do as well as your yard, and vice versa. So it's good to try stuff out. There's some that like, it doesn't matter whose yard, like Everglades tomatoes, Seminole pumpkins, 90% of you are gonna have success with, but some things like, it just doesn't work as well. Like the light might be a little bit different, the soil's just a little bit different, something's just a little bit different, and it's just not working for you. So that's the general game plan for the front vegetable garden as of right now. But Ben and I have been talking about expanding even more vegetable beds. I don't know what's wrong with us. We just really want to have so much more. But I kind of curious to see how much this produces. I don't think we'll have it in time for spring. I think what we're thinking through, we'll build it in spring. We'll probably just get it prepped, and then we'll probably use it more for, what's the other season? Fall. So let's do backyard vegetable beds. Okay, so we've got this big old thing. And then 1, 2, 3. Looking like in the back here, what we currently have is spinach, and the spinach, I think, what did I do? I put them about 1 foot apart, so these are spaced 1 foot, and they fill kind of the whole thing. And then I put a basil in each corner, and then what I did is I've got a tomato. Now this is a shrubbing tomato. Is that spelled right? That doesn't feel right. Okay, I guess so. Okay, and then I got a tomato. We're just gonna call it a Tom for short. There. Now, tomatoes are supposed to be like 2 to 3 foot spaced. Now, my intent is I'm gonna be putting a trellis where I was talking with Ben, I'm thinking it's gonna be like 1, 2, 3, how many? I got 3 stakes. So it's gonna span the 12 feet, and then it'll basically have like a 6 foot gap, 6 foot gap. I think that'll be enough for these tomatoes, but who knows? And then I counted it out. How many do I have? So with our current spacing, it's gonna be really tight to put all these tomatoes on here. I think I was gonna try to cram in like 1, 2, 3. I think it might be too tight. I might have to put a couple of them up front, like while I'll plant them, and like they're only this big, and you might sit there and be like, oh well, you know, you could fit them closer together when they're tiny? Yeah, you can, but then once they get all bushy and shrubby and you got no airflow, then you're gonna really regret that they're only a foot apart. I want to keep them at least 2 feet apart. You don't need to necessarily have them 3 feet apart. It really kind of depends on the plant, and if you keep it tightly pruned, it should be okay. But I think I'm gonna end up having a few to put up front. Well, that's good. All right, so we got 3 tomatoes I can go and like say are gonna come up here. I'm gonna call them Freda tomatoes because I don't remember what variety these are right now. I know she put little labels and she did a great job like letting me know. I just didn't remember all of them. I remember there was like, yeah, and I'll tell you guys when we go to like actually plant them. Okay, so that would fill, oh, okay, but that doesn't fill up this whole bed. We're not done with this bed yet though, because we still have a ton of space in here. And what I want to do is I've got a ton of onion starts, like a lot. I have ones from Freda. I think she gave me like maybe 20 plants, and then I bought like 80 more. So I've got about 100 plants, and I don't know if this is going to be enough space for all 100. I picked up a short day onion. I think I got Georgia sweet and Texas something. I took pictures of it. I'll put it right here as I go talk about these things. But it was like a Georgia sweet and a Texas sweet, like yellow onion, is what I picked up from Lowe's. And then Freda gave me some onions. She couldn't remember what type they were, so they're an onion. But the thing is if you live in Florida, or you're one of my people who watch in other similar climates, like in South Texas, or you're over in the Southwest, we need short day because our days don't get that long. Because short day has nothing to do with hot. It's just like how long is the sun in the sky, and the closer you are to the equator, like your days, right, you just they don't swing. It's like the difference of like when you watch people like, oh, if you guys watch Simple Living Alaska, I watch them sometimes. Their days swing really long and really short. So they can do long day onions because their days are long. We need to do short day onions because our days aren't short. They don't really change. That's what happens. So I got short day onions, which multiple of you, when I did my soil blocks, were like, those wall of walls are long days, not short days. And I was like, no. Well, I guess I can use them as green onions. So I might sprinkle in some green onions to like help fill in some beds, I guess. I don't know, because green onions grow really well here. So in this bed, we currently have lettuce, and they're currently spaced out quite a bit. So I kind of have it right now where it's like, we're just gonna write a note that this is the lettuce bed. And for spacing right now, they are way too far apart. They're like 2 feet apart. So you basically have like lettuce. So I can cram in some more lettuce, which is great because succession planning. I can fit in a whole nother set. So I could probably fit in like 5 here, 5. So I can do probably 15 to maybe 18 more plants of lettuce. I can either pick these up as starts, or I got my sweet seed starts. So right now what's in there is a red romaine and a green romaine. I have little gem soil blocks that were started. I had some romaine and butter crunch that I had put in there, but Shiloh, get off the bed, you silly goose. Okay, so I have, you're a good girl, but don't do that. Got the green romaine and the red romaine. I did some soil block starts with little gem, romaine, and butter crunch. The romaine and the butter crunch seeds are not coming up. They must not be viable. They may be too old, or the way I stored them, one or the other. But the little gems look like they're all popping up. So I can put in some little gem starts, / if I need to. I did see at, was it Home Depot the other night when we were getting the T-post, they did have butter crunch lettuce, which is so yummy. So I could always go buy some of those starts also, because they did really well last time when I grew them. So I may be going into snagging, because they've got those little 6-pack ones. So I might snag those. So I can get 15 to 18 more lettuce plants to get in here. Now this bed right behind me, not the one that I'm gonna add right here. In this one we have, and then we've got a cauliflower and a cauliflower. Now all these brassicas, they like to be spread out by like 3 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There must be an extra one in here somewhere. Yeah, because I got 12 of these. I'm missing somebody. Maybe there's one more in here. Oh, maybe there's one right here. That's it. Okay. Now the thing with broccoli is you don't want to push, like with the brassicas, like you can get them a little bit tighter, but remember they're gonna like really fill up. Those plants that you see behind me, here, I'll switch angles so you can see them. I mean, they're like this big now. They were only like this big not that long ago. So here, you can come over here. So they've got a lot of growing that they're gonna do. They're gonna take up a lot of space. You know, you're gonna end up taking that good 3 feet. So making sure that they get enough space is gonna be really important in the bed. So there's not really much more I can fit in that bed, which is why I was like, where are you gonna put peppers, Jacqueline? So that's what I got to figure out. So that's basically where I'm thinking we're just gonna add a whole nother bed right here. A 3 foot by 12 foot bed. We have the soil. We ended up with extra soil. You can check out the video I'll put in the description where I did the plan for this, and you can understand why I ended up with so much soil. But now we can add a whole bed of peppers here. And depending on how big the peppers are, you know, I guess I could throw some onions in there, or some of those like walla walls that seem to be starting, or bunching onions, because we do, you know, we use the green onion soup and stuff like that. So I think that would be a good idea. Now, peppers, it's like about a 2 feet spacing. And the one thing, if you notice with some of the patterns I'm drawing, is like I do this kind of like diagonal or diamond pattern. That's how you can kind of maximize your space, because if you just do like 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, and then you're like, oh no, I can't put one right here because they'll be too close. The way you do it is you offset and you make like this diagonal, or AKA diamond pattern, to get the most into the space you have. And that's kind of what I did with the broccoli too, so that you kind of, you maximize, that's what you're doing. So if with this, what I could do is we can get a pepper here. I know this is a pepper bed. And if we don't want to do another one till right here, then we can put one right here. You see that? You see how that like starts? Because I want to keep 2 feet spacing, so there's that. And then we got the one there. So then I can do pepper. And then now I can just do a quick count of how many peppers, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 12. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need 18 plants. Now the big question is what varieties would I want? And what I'm thinking is we could do more Cubanelles. Those were a really solid, we used them all year. So I could do a couple. I don't think I need a ton more than what we had, because we sometimes went and had to go buy peppers from the grocery store, but most of the time didn't. So I think we're kind of on that cusp of like maybe a couple more might help, but not too many. I definitely think we should do some jalapenos, because you know, all the good things with jalapenos, from stuffed jalapenos to pickled jalapenos, we eat a ton of like diced pickled jalapenos. So it would make sense for us to do that, plus can them. Oh, I love banana peppers, and I love pepperoncini. I don't think they usually sell those at the store, but I love them. So definitely want to do some of that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I'll have to see what's available. I have found that like at this point in spring, a lot of the bell pepper types that they sell at the store that aren't meant for Florida are just not going to do well. I'll see if my local place has some varieties that I haven't, or if you guys have recommended any varieties of a sweet bell pepper. Open to trying some new things, because the traditional, just like what you get at the store, doesn't work great here. It works okay. Now there is one other thing that I need to plan out. What else is there to plan out, Jacqueline? You already figured out everything. No, I did not. There's actually a couple things. So I have a pot of carrots up front. I have a pot of strawberries up front. But in order to do this in the cabbage, there's strawberries in there, and then I need to like top off that bed. So my intent is I've got 2 pots that are being used, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5, I think, open pots, big 5-gallon pots. And I got a ton of soil up front, so might as well grow some stuff in it. So what I'm thinking, where am I gonna put my little nose? My thinking is I'm gonna move it all back here. So I'm gonna put the carrot pot and then the strawberry pot. And I think with the number of strawberries, here's what I'm thinking is that I've got 7 pots that can then run along. Because I know some people were like, oh my God, your mulch aisle, why do you need that much mulch like this width? It's like, hey, I can put some pots, right? I can just put them here, and that way we don't have to worry about mowing them and stuff. So what I'm thinking is we'll do, I have 1 pot of strawberries. I think there's 2 strawberry plants, and I could just do that. And then what I could do is do a strawberry. Oh, that's in carrot pot. Well, I can do carrots here because it's already got carrots in it. And then I've got 4 more pots. Now, originally I thought about putting the eggplant in, but I think I can just put it all in the front bed. Maybe what I'm gonna do is do some native plants. These ones. Yeah. Oh, I need to do ajise. Love my ajises. Also called ajise dulce. A lot of people were like, do you mean ajise dulce? I was like, I don't know. My neighbor called them ajise, but I guess they're ajise dulce. Peppers, they are so good. So yeah, maybe what I'm gonna end up doing is I'll do these as flower, or herbs. Because herbs, many herbs tend to get out of control. Ooh, give me your herb recommendations. I was like super eyeing one of the, what was it, sage? So I'm thinking these are either gonna be, so let's think herb suggestions, and I do think it would be, I'm like on the fence of doing natives in a pot, and here's why. A huge chunk of this yard right back there is gonna get turned into native plants. So I don't need to put them like in the long run in pots because they're gonna start filling in spaces immediately around here. So on the fence. But I think herbs would be really good. You know, I need cilantro. So things we use a lot of, I know for sure we use a lot of cilantro. I think we might be on the edge of whether that would make sense to do or not. Some other ones that might be cool is like, I always hear good things about lavender. Sage, I just, like, you know, like a sage butter sauce. Kind of want to do sage. But which herbs grow really, really, really well for you? Because outside of basil and cilantro, I don't know that I've grown a lot of other herbs before. So I'm open to recommendations. So we'll put those down in the comments down below. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I feel very proud of me. Good job. How are you feeling about your garden plan? Do you feel like you're in a really good spot? Do you feel like you got a good idea of like what are the things you need to do? Do you feel like you got some ideas? Of course, check out the comments. Everyone does such a good job of like letting each other know things that are working or not working for them. And of course, like let us know what your favorite varieties are. And please tell me some herb ideas because that's kind of new territory for me. So I would love to know what I should be putting in these pots. And of course, if you want to get the planner, because it helps me plan, I do lots of planning in here. Go ahead and go to www.wildfloridian.net/planner. Go check this out. And while you wait, if you're looking for more planning inspiration, you want to know about this garden, go check out this video right here where I was planning it out so you can kind of get more ideas, more tips, and more tricks. And YouTube says you want to watch this right here. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.